Well, we're back, episode 2, as you guys know. Just myself, DJ's Aviation. The rest of the crew couldn't make it. This episode's going to run for 15 minutes, and that's how they're going to be from now on, but we will be including something very special for you all. You'll notice maybe 2 minutes into this podcast. So we're going to jump right into the topics today. Our first one is the Singapore Airlines A350 route crisis that's going on with them at the moment. We do know that they're taking their first delivery of the Airbus A350 in January of 2016. They haven't really decided where they're going to go yet. We know a few, but we don't know by the end of their deliveries of the A350s what they're actually going to do. So, by the end of 2016, they're expected to have 11 Airbus A350s, and they've actually ordered 63 of them. So, that's going to open up a lot of routes. And we do know, if you don't know, Singapore Airlines have 777-300ERs, 777-300s, but they also have 777-200ERs, or the 200 variant that we like to call them. So these 777-200 routes are quite, not routes, the planes are quite old and are starting to deteriorate. And the whole plan for Singapore Airlines was to phase out these 777-200s, sell them off to maybe another airline. Originally, they had plans to give them off to Scoot, which is Singapore Airlines' low-cost airline, which we know flies around Australia and to different destinations around Asia. But Scoot has done so well, they've actually made a profit and have now got 787-8 and 787-9s, meaning they can give back their 777-200s or 300s, I believe, to Singapore Airlines, which Singapore leased to Scoot around a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when Scoot came into the world of aviation. So these 777-200s are actually going to be phased out. They're going to be gone pretty soon when Singapore take full delivery of their A350s. So what Singapore plan to do with these A350s is swap them out. We'll see the 777-200s go, and the routes the 777-200s went on. For instance, what routes couldn't we think of? Singapore to Perth, Singapore to Sydney, and sometimes, maybe 3 months out of 12, we see Singapore start up a 777-200 service to Melbourne. They will be gone, completely gone, and they'll be swapped out now with the A350s once all 63 are delivered, meaning A350s are going to become quite common on Flight Radar, Flight Aware. As we know, 787s weren't around 4 years ago, and now it's hectic. You usually see 1,000 planes in the air that are Dreamliners. So, possible routes that Singapore could open up. We haven't gone in depth yet, but we will. They're looking at starting up Milan, Barcelona, and Sao Paulo routes from Singapore, of course. We know that with Qantas just ordering their 787-9s, I believe, they're looking at a Perth to London flight. And we do know that the oxygen, the air, and the windows, they're bigger. The air is cleaner. So jet lag is not really a problem now. But I know people say places like Dubai, which they know as the biggest world hub, and that's where most people stop over, and it's true. But with the 787-9s and in the future of aviation, we might actually see stopovers just being gone completely. We might see Melbourne to London Heathrow, and that's in 7 hours, because I have heard, well actually from my dad, that planes in the future might even just take off, go vertically up, and sit on like the atmosphere of Earth, and watch the Earth spin basically, and they sit there, and then you go straight back down and land into Heathrow. So aviation in general is going to change big time, as we can see. So earlier this week, Singapore, which is quite odd, removed the ability to book first-class travel from Milan and Barcelona on selected days of September 2016, and Sao Paulo from October 2016. So I don't know what their plan is here. Rather, they might not want all this information getting out to customers. They might not want them booking and then realising these particular routes are not going to go up, because the Qantas 787-9 saga and the 777X saga that's been going on, they're saying we're going to start up Melbourne to San Francisco routes, Sydney to, I believe, San Francisco as well, and a Sydney to New York route. They're saying that, yes, although this might go ahead, we're not 100% sure that this could go. The routes are going to probably be very different to what all of the media, all of aviation geeks around the world assume. So moving on to our next Airbus A350 topic, we're going to go inside TAM's new Airbus A350. So by now you guys would have realised what the surprise is, and yes, we've actually included footage, so you guys will see footage from various YouTubers across the world of our particular topics that we're talking about. So we're going to start talking about TAM, and you might not know what TAM is, but they're a Brazilian airline that next year are going to basically form into LATAM, and LATAM, TAM, don't even get me started, but LAN is based in Chile, TAM is based in Brazil. They're hoping to form, or not they're hoping, they will be forming together as one airline throughout 2016, rebranding their liveries, rebranding their planes, their name will change on the planes, different gear I presume, and a whole new look, a fresh look. So the picture showing up now should be, depending on my editing skills, the TAM Airbus A350 that is set to be delivered this week. So we can see the livery is quite vibrant. It's got red, blue, and a bit of white. The tail's red, and overall, I think it's a pretty livery. They could do a bit more. It just seems like the red on the tail is just cut off by that blue. There's nothing flowing. But of course, with the possibilities of LATAM and all that, we don't know what the livery could be in the future. We're going to go inside TAM's Airbus A350 premium business cabin now. So we can see here that there are 30 forward-facing business class seats, because we are looking at this picture from the back of their business class section. The layout is in a 2-2-2 formation or combination, and there are oversized windows that will be showing up now, as we can see. The only downside I think that this business class has is you can clearly see the champagne, wine, beer glass that is sitting on what looks to be a coffee table is literally mounted there. So I don't know if you might not know who the person is next to you, but if you do and you're traveling with your wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband or something like that on a honeymoon or something like that, you actually will not be able to get over that seat. You might not be able to swap seats. You're going to have to climb. But I would still presume that there is that detracts, that goes smaller, turns away. There has to be a way to get into that seat. So we also can see this LCD screen, which is absolutely brilliant. It's a HD video screen, and it's a 15.4 inch one. So this is for entertainment purposes, of course. So I'll give you guys a peach. Well, if you don't like peaches, that's going to be a problem. So I'm going to give you guys a picture now of what the whole business class kind of nook looks like. We've got the seat here, which is fully retractable and goes into a fully flat bed and then can go up into a normal seat. It might also be a recliner. What looks to be a little safety section you have on your right hand side as you sit down, where you might be able to keep your phone, wallet if you need to go to the toilet. Looks like there's a tray table if you need to do some work, or you want to sit your laptop there, iPad, movies, etc. And that also folds in or folds back, folds in, folds out, folds back. We really don't know, because now at night time we see a picture of the bed that's completely laid out. You and your partner or complete strangers basically sleeping next to each other, and we can see that this bed has lights, meaning you can turn them off, and looks to be mood lighting to help with the jet lag. Pardon me. I do know a lot of airlines recently have actually been introducing this mood lighting at night, lighting up the cabin with stars, because I know night flights on the Emirates A380, which I will be going on very soon, they actually put stars on the roof. So you're sleeping or you look up and you actually feel like, I know it's dumb, but you feel like you're in the stars, you feel like you're in space, which I think is really good, and I'm very happy with what they're doing to reduce the jet lag. So LATAM or TAM, this business class design comes from the highly regarded consulting firm at Priest Mangood. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. It's probably wrong. They most recently crafted TAM's cool but later canned 777 first class cabin. So we do know that the Airbus A350 on TAM does not actually have a first class cabin, I believe. But you'll see a picture now of what the cabin looked like, type of thing. So we see a screen that pops along the middle row and a couch underneath. I don't know how that would work, because if you do have someone sitting there, their head is going to go right over the screen for the person sitting on the right. And it doesn't function that good, to be honest, so I really don't know. Pardon me again. I had a fizzy drink, so pardon me. So we have economy class now. There are 318 seats. It's pretty much what you'd expect from an economy. In the TAM colours, blue, red, blue with the white headrests. Very nice. Very slick, smooth seating it looks like. It just seems to be a normal economy and will work very well for them. So TAM has signed on and dotted a line for 27 Airbus A350-900s. They will initially fly from the airline's Sao Paulo base to North America and Europe. So just before we were talking about Singapore Airlines, they could also be sending their A350s to Sao Paulo, which means Sao Paulo is going to be very busy. They'll have TAM A350s and possibly Singapore A350s. Mid-year, we should also see the first, I have to point this out, true LATAM A350. We've had, as I've said, this is the TAM A350, but that's before they're going to form together as a company. This is going to carry a new livery to reflect the unified brand, including a logo resembling a stylish version of the South America continent. You'll see a picture on here now, that is their new logo, and you'll also see a video before this, so I guess this is a bit late, of LAN and TAM joining forces. So hopefully the whole A350 crisis and the whole A350 news is covered up now. We're going to be switching to the rival of the A350, Japan Airlines' 787-9s. So we've seen Japan Airlines using their 777s to Sydney quite a bit. They've been around for a while in Sydney, and they're looking at opening up a second Australian destination using their Dreamliners. It was rumoured at first that they were going to head to Melbourne, and this is going to work me up. And of course, now the rumours have died down with Melbourne, and now they're looking at Perth. And we recently saw ANA, All Nippon Airways, start service to Sydney, and almost immediately after they started services, they're already saying they want to open up a second destination to Australia, almost immediately. Meaning that's kind of two Japanese airlines, let's say. So they also said, we're going to open up at Melbourne as well. We really like the Australian community. I don't know how they like the numbers and everything like that after being in service for one day, but I guess they're referring to the bookings and how well it's all doing. So now ANA and Japan are both looking at Perth flights. So JAL chairman, he's flagged the move in an interview this week with Japanese news service, Kyodo News, I think. So Sydney to Tokyo is the Japanese flag carrier's sole Australian route, with arch competitor ANA as not set, but they have launched their 787 on the same route from December 11th. So Japan is an increasing community for numbers around Sydney and the whole of Australia, with people migrating over here, meaning if you want to go back and visit your family, you might not want to stop off at Singapore, you might want to go straight to that particular destination, meaning Japan and ANA have a lot of wiggle room to actually open up a second destination, because for people in Melbourne, for instance, South Korea, just Korea in general, the numbers are up, and Korean Airlines actually ceased services here 3-4 years ago, and that was a big shame, and now we just see all this going to shambles again. Korean Air might not come back, but numbers were up, I think, 20% or something for Korean people here, and the Korean nationality and everything like that. So we really could see them coming back in the near future, and then that's just going to cause more mayhem in the Asian aviation world, with Asiana Airlines, Cuba, Cebu Pacific, Philippines, Singapore, Air China, Beijing Capital. It's just mayhem, and we say that the Trans-Pacific area with Delta, Air Canada, is overcapacitated. Just look at Asia and you'll go mad. I mean, the flights that come into Australia from that area, it's crazy. I don't understand how the numbers can be so big, but that's just how it is. So I think episode 2 is a wrap now. Really hope you guys enjoyed listening or watching, and from the first episode and watching how many of you actually watched to the end, I hope you made it this far. If you did, thank you very much. Stay tuned for episode 3, which should be out in 2 weeks. Have a very Merry Christmas, have a safe holiday, and a Happy New Year if we don't see you then. And I'll see you guys in the next one, I suppose, with a special guest.